You open your eyes for the very first time, and congratulations. You've just been born on Mandalore into one of the most powerful houses of the Mandalorian race. But before you can even speak, your whole life has already been decided. You grow up in a city inside a sealed dome, but you can't go outside. The air outside the dome is toxic. It's so toxic that if the dome ever failed, everyone inside would suffocate to death. Very risky, I know, and it's all the fault of your ancestors. You see, Mandalorian society is structured as a feudal hierarchy that decides literally everything about everyone's existence. At the top sits the Mandalore, the supreme leader who traditionally gains power by either defeating the previous Mandalore in single combat or by wielding the Darksaber, a unique black-bladed lightsaber created 1,000 years ago by the first Mandalorian Jedi. Below the Mandalore are the houses, which are basically political and military factions that function as alliances between clans. And the clans are extended family units with their own leaders. When you're born, you not only get your clan's traditions, but also its alliances and enemies. These conflicts started generations before you were born and will probably continue after you die. The majority of wars that a Mandalorian fights are not against external enemies. These conflicts are Mandalorians fighting Mandalorians, often from the same clans or houses fighting for power. Blood feuds between clans are the reason for these conflicts. The worst thing is that these have nothing to do with your choices or actions. Someone's grandfather killed another family's great uncle decades or centuries ago, and now two clans are locked in a cycle of mutual murder. Each new death demands revenge, which creates a counter murder, which demands another revenge killing. The cycle will continue until the end of time, or until one of the clans disappears completely. The clan is everything for the Mandalorians. But don't expect a traditional loving family. Your parents won't ask you what makes you happy or what your passion in life is. The only thing that matters to them is that you become a true Mandalorian, or Mandoad in their language, which means warrior first, person second. The entire culture sees everyone as a tool for the clan's interest rather than an independent person. Your desires, your personal happiness, your dreams, well, forget them. What matters is that you become another warrior to add to the clan. But the Mandalorian wars aren't only against their own kind. Thousands of years back, the Mandalorians launched massive crusaders across the galaxy, conquering Republic worlds and becoming one of the most feared military forces in existence. They fought against Jedi and could actually kill users of the Force in combat. The Mandalorians, under Mandalore the Great, became such a serious threat that the Jedi Order and the Republic had no choice but to answer them with equal fire. In fact, these wars are the reason you have to live in a sealed city. Your homeworld has been destroyed multiple times by endless wars. The planet was once beautiful, with oceans, forests, mountains, and natural water systems. But thousands of years of wars consumed the planet's surface until agriculture became impossible. Natural water systems were poisoned, and large portions of the planet turned into toxic deserts that require sealed, domed cities just to survive. Your whole planet was also destroyed because Mandalorians became so dangerous that the galaxy's government had to bomb your planet just to stop them. When you're around 3 to 5 years old, your childhood ends. You get a helmet, but it's not so you don't get hurt riding a bicycle. It's to begin your formal military training. You receive your first real weapon and immediately begin learning how to kill. This timing is chosen to ensure that martial skills become instinctive and embedded in your muscle memory before you can even begin to question the ideology being imposed on you. Your school is also pretty different from what you may expect. The only things you'll really be taught will be related to combat. You learn shooting, tracking, hand-to-hand combat, armor maintenance, and survival skills in hostile environments. You're not taught to think critically or to understand the galaxy. You're taught to fight and survive, which is the only thing that matters to Mandalorians. Training is brutal. If you're too weak to handle the training, then you're too weak to be a warrior. And Mandalorian culture doesn't have room for weakness. But hey, at least you don't have to struggle with math. And thanks to today's sponsor NordVPN, feeling unsafe while using the internet is something you'll never have to worry about either. I spend a huge chunk of my life online, uploading videos, researching ideas, downloading files, and I really don't love the idea of all that activity being exposed or tracked. NordVPN encrypts my connection and hides my IP, which makes everything I do online way more private and secure. But it's not just when I'm at home. Anytime I'm out in public and need Wi-Fi, that's when NordVPN really earns its keep. Coffee shops, airports, hotels, public Wi-Fi is basically a free-for-all. With NordVPN on, my passwords, logins, and personal info stays encrypted. Plus, you can use NordVPN to access shows and content from different countries. If something isn't available where you live, you can just switch your virtual location and boom, you're in. When you use my link, you'll get a huge discount on a 2-year plan plus 4 additional bonus months. Get it at nordvpn.com/Wallace. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and it's the best deal on the internet. Again, all you have to do is type in nordvpn.com/Wallace or click the link in the description below. Thanks again to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get back to it. There's only one thing you learn that is not related to fighting or survival, and it's probably the most important thing in your indoctrination: the raisonner. These are the 6 actions that form the foundation of Mandalorian obligation. You have to wear the armor, speak Mandoa, defend yourself and family, raise children as Mandalorians, contribute to the clan, and rally to the Mandalore when called to war. These 6 actions are forced into you as soon as you learn to talk. Your parents make you repeat them daily until they become part of your mind and the only thing that matter in your life. Well, it's not like you have a choice anyway. If you fail in even one of these actions, you will be declared a Darmander, no longer a Mandalorian. This is basically social death. Those declared Darmander are completely isolated from Mandalorian society. They lose their identity, access to resources, and everything they've ever known. This threat serves as powerful precaution to follow the 6 actions without question. If you step out of your culture's path, you'll stop being a Mandalorian. There are no alternative paths or questions. You cannot become a scholar, artist, or any other profession outside combat. There is no way for you to develop skills outside military practices. The entire culture revolves around war and nothing else. While you train, you meet people that don't look anything like you or your neighbors. They are foundlings, children from other species and cultures who are orphans from wars and adopted into Mandalorian clans. The Mandalorians see this practice almost as a duty. For them, it's a way to show compassion for children who would otherwise die alone. But this is not as good as it sounds. Foundlings are given a clean slate, which is the complete obliteration of their original identity. Their birth name is erased and replaced with a Mandalorian name. Their original language is forgotten, and they learn Mandoa. Their birth culture and religion are abandoned. Their historical lineage is severed. All connections to their previous life are eliminated. They are traumatized children who just experienced the violent death of their families. And at their most vulnerable moments, Mandalorians adopt them and immediately bring them into a warrior cult. Foundlings know they have no option. They are isolated, traumatized, and made completely dependent on their Mandalorian adoptive families. By the time they are old enough to think about their situation, they've already been indoctrinated into their adopted clan. When foundlings are around 13 years old, they face a choice. They can remain Mandalorian or leave the culture and pursue their own path. This choice seems like compassion. They have the option to leave. But at that age, they have nowhere else to go. No resources to survive, and no skills other than combat. The only language they speak is Mandoa. The only culture they know is Mandalorian warrior culture. And the only family they've ever experienced is their adopted Mandalorian clan. Most remain Mandalorian not because they genuinely choose to, but because they have no alternative. When you are 13 years old, you complete your training and you're now considered an adult, which means you can forge or inherit your Beskar gam, an armor crafted from Beskar. Mandalorian iron that's one of the galaxy's strongest materials, capable of withstanding blaster fire or even lightsaber strikes. This is one of the most important moments in the life of any Mandalorian. The armor is sacred. It's not just armor. Everyone judges you on how you wear your armor. Maintain it, fight in it, and modify it. The armor becomes more important than your face or your personality. For your culture, losing your armor is losing everything. You've seen everyone on your planet with armor, so you may expect them to be cheap. But they are exactly the opposite. The armor is expensive and needs constant maintenance. On top of that, Beskar is extremely rare. It can only be found on Mandalore and one of its moons. Also, each suit needs a skilled smith to forge it, or the Beskar will be wasted. So you'll spend a huge amount of your resources just maintaining it. When they give you your armor, you understand why you haven't seen your parents' faces in your whole life. Your clan follows an ancient interpretation of the Rezolner and is in the Children of the Watch sect. This means you'll never remove your helmet in front of others, so your children and almost everyone else will never see your face. But this is just one of the things that change in your life after completing your training. Mandalorian culture runs on being guns for hire for other cultures. As soon as you're done with your training, you fight in other people's wars on planets you've never heard of, and for causes you don't believe in, just so your clan can afford food, fuel, and armor. Mercenary work means no loyalty and no principles. Today, you fight for the Republic. Tomorrow for the Separatists, and next year for the Hutts. Your supposed honor as a warrior is just a product sold to the highest bidder. You're ordered to go to specific planets, kill everyone there, and prepare the planet for sale. You are far from being a warrior engaged in honorable combat. Being a mercenary also means that when there are no wars to fight, you don't have a job. Many Mandalorians begin doing piracy, smuggling, or crime just to survive between wars. The glorious warrior culture is really just thugs trying to pay bills. But you don't have other options. If you refuse a contract, your clan suffers financially and you're seen as weak and disloyal. You have no choice but to fight in wars you have nothing to do with. Your clan needs wars to survive. So you hope for conflict because it means you'll eat. You also can't afford to do the bare minimum because your armor is your work tool. Maintaining Beskar armor drains your resources constantly. Repairs are expensive, replacement parts are rare, and you're always one broken shoulder plate away from being broke. You can't afford to turn down work because you need money for armor maintenance, but every job damages your armor more, which forces you to take more work. Speaking of family, it's time you get one, whether you want it or not. After some years of mercenary work and proving yourself that you are a true warrior, which makes you perfect for being chosen as a mate, because relationships aren't about love here. The only thing that matters is producing strong warriors. Clans often arrange marriages to strengthen alliances or to settle feuds. You don't get to choose a partner based on whether you like them. You get one chosen for you based on the benefits to the clan. Marriages are used to form political alliances, but if your wife's clan decides to break that alliance, you'll have to choose between supporting your wife and betraying your clan, or staying with the clan and fighting against your wife. But it's not like you can form a strong bond with her anyway. Expressing vulnerability or emotional needs is seen as un-Mandalorian. Romance doesn't exist here. You also can't remove your helmet in front of anyone, not even your partner. So physical intimacy is also really hard. You can't kiss your partner. You can't see their face or see their expressions. Every interaction partners have is with their helmets on. Also, the fact that you are away for months on mercenary jobs doesn't help either. If your partner isn't Mandalorian, they're expected to convert completely and adopt the culture, or you'll be exiled. When you're around 20 years old, the war cycle of Mandalore repeats one more time and a new civil war begins. A new group called the New Mandalorians want to abandon Mandalorian warrior culture and start a pacifist movement to rebuild Mandalore. For everyone in your house, this is not a simple disagreement. They are betraying the whole culture. They are trying to erase everything your ancestors fought for, everything you were raised to believe, and everything that gives your life meaning. You fight against them with your house, and at this point, it's not because you were ordered to. It's because the indoctrination worked. You can't even think of being a Mandalorian without being a warrior. The war continued for 2 years. You shoot at people who speak the same language and grew up in the same culture. You watch family and friends die in the war at the hands of the enemy, but also by your own hands. You and the traditional warriors fight with all you have, but the pacifist forces win and you lose everything. Instead of executing you, the pacifists exiled the traditional warrior clans to a Mandalore's moon called Concordia, believing you can be rehabilitated, because you can't erase generations of tradition just like that. On Concordia, the pacifist government watches everyone to make sure they don't continue the warrior traditions. But you don't give up. The warrior clans reorganize into the Death Watch, an army that will retake Mandalore. You join them and become a trainer and a recruiter. You even make your sons join them, and you spend the next decades teaching the next generation the 6 actions. How to fight, and most importantly, to hate the pacifists. You work in mines and factories by day, building weapons and armor in hidden locations. By night, you train in secret camps, keeping the old ways alive. And every single day, you look down at your home planet, watching it be ruled by people you see as traitors who destroyed everything sacred. The hate in you grows, year after year, until it becomes as much of a part of you as the armor. After 20 years of waiting, the Death Watch finally makes its move. You launch terrorist attacks on the capital to destabilize the government with the help of a criminal organization led by an old Sith. Then you storm into the capital with the full force of warriors you've spent 2 decades training. You fight against the new Mandalorians once again, and this time, the warriors win. Your leader takes the Darksaber and becomes the new Mandalore. You take back your world and the old ways will return. Your sons and family will get to see Mandalore once again and recover their cultural roots. But this won't last as long as you want it to. The old Sith that helped you betrays your leader and wins the Darksaber in combat, meaning that now he is the Mandalore, and the new civil war begins. The Death Watch divides into 2 factions. Some warriors follow the Sith because he won the Darksaber according to tradition, while others refuse to serve an outsider, especially a Sith Lord. You survived and fought for 20 years to restore Mandalore, and now someone who's not even a Mandalorian is on the throne. But things are just starting to get worse. The conflict that the Sith takeover started weakened the Mandalore to a point where anyone could enter and take over. The Republic sent clone forces to dethrone the Sith, but just when they were about to win, Order 66 happened. Now the clones that were sent to set your world free will turn into a part of the new Empire. The Empire begins to exploit everything of value in your culture. They confiscate weapons, strip mine resources, and steal all the Beskar they can find. You watch generations of heritage being used by your own conquerors. You and others try to fight back, but you are outnumbered by Imperial forces that have unlimited resources and no concepts like honor or fair combat. While some tried to fight, others collaborated with the Empire. A clan within your own house became your executors just to keep some kind of power over the rest of the clans. You fought for years to preserve the Mandalorian culture, and now you're watching Mandalorians destroy it piece by piece, unable to fight back. You survived the Empire occupation for over 20 years, which is longer than most. You're in your 60s now. By now, you've spent your entire life fighting, and you'll continue to do it. Even with all the power from the Empire and the support of one of your clans, the resistance never stopped. The warriors continued to fight for their independence and made clear that they will never be controlled by others. And the Empire understood that. You're in your clan compound when you hear an explosion. Turbo laser fire comes down from space, destroying entire city blocks in seconds. The domed cities that were rebuilt after the Civil War collapse. You try to reach your family, but communications are down and the streets are pure chaos. The space attacks continue until almost everything is destroyed. Then, the bombing stops, and the stormtroopers are deployed into the streets, executing anyone in Mandalorian armor. You and your clanmates try to fight back, but there are just too many. They begin hunting survivors and executing them without mercy. You see more troopers arrive and try to take cover, but it's too late. You take a blaster bolt to the chest and leg. Your armor absorbs most of the impact, but the firepower is so strong that it pushes you to the ground. You can't get up. Your leg won't respond. The troopers finally get to you and open fire. You die in the ruins of what your clan called home, surrounded by the bodies of your people, watching your homeworld burn for the last time. Your last thought is whether your entire bloodline and culture will end here. Your body is left in the rubble alongside hundreds of thousands of others. There's no burial, no funeral, no honor. Your Beskar armor, the most important thing to you, is taken by Imperial forces to sell. Generations of your family's legacy are destroyed, and your clan is likely extinct now. You spent your entire life fighting in clan disputes, in civil wars, and in resistance against external forces to protect your entire culture. But in the end, none of it mattered. And you die knowing that everything you sacrificed was for absolutely nothing.